The United States is battling the largest measles outbreak in decades.
The rapid spread of measles is prompting newer and stronger measures from health officials across the country.
The latest outbreaks are highlighting pockets of unvaccinated people.
Communities across the country are taking drastic measures.
Amid the backdrop of the current outbreak, if you go online, you might see false information about vaccines. Information that science has debunked for years, like this.
Vaccines can and do cause autism.
The spread of misinformation can affect something like a measles outbreak or, attitudes about information in general, of course, because it's affecting the way that people are getting their information. It's affecting what they believe.
So far, there are no large-scale studies that say that vaccine misinformation causes outbreaks. But social media companies are starting to make changes to their core products in an effort to tamp down on these kinds of posts. Changes that some critics say aren't enough. Here's a look at what they're doing.
Some are making it harder for users to search for false content. Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest are relying on information from global health organizations to help them identify false information and make it harder to find. For example, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has confirmed that there's no link between getting the measles vaccine and developing autism. Facebook takes this kind of information and uses a combination of technology and human reviewers to identify groups that suggest that there is a link. Once a page gets flagged, Facebook's algorithm makes it harder to find. For example, they would likely flag "We know vaccines cause autism 123, a group we made up for the purpose of this video. Once flagged, the page would appear lower in the newsfeed. It would also be reduced in search results and removed from search recommendations. For Facebook, this system is only in place for pages that make explicitly false claims, as in claims that are proven to be scientifically incorrect. That means many groups that use anti-vaccine language but don't include a specifically false claim might not get flagged. This made-up group, for example, might not get flagged even though it's promoting anti-vaccine opinions.
What you'll get is a short-term fix for, again, probably those things that have gained the most publicity. But that doesn't mean that there is something fundamentally changed about the way that the platform is operating, or in many cases, the kind of content that you can find.
In response, Facebook cites research that complements previous findings that shows how the overall consumption of false news on Facebook has declined since the 2016 US elections. Other platforms like Instagram and Pinterest have made moves to stop spreading misinformation by hiding results for false hashtags. Now, when you search for hashtag vaccines cause autism on Instagram or hashtag vaccines cause SIDS on Pinterest, nothing pops up. But similar to Facebook, opinion hashtags won't be banned on Instagram. So if you search for hashtag vaccines are bad, searches will still come up. And even some hashtags that are false, like hashtag vaccines cause autism read the studies, still pop up. Instagram says it's constantly trying to get ahead of permutations of the hashtag and vernacular that they think still infringes upon their misinformation policies. They say they view their efforts to combat misinformation more broadly, saying they're not problems you can fix, but rather issues you can continually improve on.
The tools that can operate at the scale that these platforms need do not have the sophistication and the nuance to be able to distinguish between something that is, definitely misinformation and something that definitely isn't. And so what you tend to get in these solutions are these kind of whack-a-mole approaches, right? Where one set of search results will be blocked or one hashtag will be blocked because that's been flagged as problematic.
YouTube is also trying to counteract misinformation by giving users information from third-party sources like Wikipedia and Encyclopedia Britannica. The aim is to guide users to more sources where they can fact-check information for themselves. For example, look at this trailer for a documentary that claims to educate parents around the world about what it calls vaccine injury. Just below the video, there's a link to the Wikipedia page for vaccine controversies. The first sentence of the page explains how the World Health Organization identified vaccine hesitancy as one of the top 10 global threats of 2019. WhatsApp is also working to fight against the spread of misinformation by changing its rules on forwarding. In India, anti-vaccine misinformation is spreading on the messaging service, making it harder to root out measles and rubella in a country where tens of thousands of people are struck by the diseases every year.
And this story is one of the biggest examples of how spreading fake news could lead to massive social and political problems.
Users are sending around messages like this one that says in Hindi and Urdu, "Don't use vaccinations, save the lives of your children." WhatsApp has recently made product changes to fight against misinformation of all kinds, not just related to health.
Be like Kavya. Share joy, not rumors.
Before, WhatsApp users could forward a message to over 100 accounts at the same time. But as of January 2019, WhatsApp tweaked its rules, where now you can only forward a message to up to 5 chats globally.
Are you really sure that this is true?
No man, it was a forward.
They've also started marking which messages have been forwarded by a user rather than sent directly. For example, this message with the forwarded tag comes from a third party. The messaging service also allows users to report accounts by clicking here. If WhatsApp's automated system recognizes that an account has been reported many times, they may ban it. WhatsApp says it bans nearly 2 million accounts per month. But while the company bans accounts that many users have reported, they don't ban accounts based on reports about the content of messages. So the account that sent the message from before won't necessarily be banned.
So as these companies introduce new rules to fight against the spread of vaccine misinformation, there's one common theme. None of them offer a blanket solution.
Owning it means, one, taking responsibility for the editorial choices that they are making and where they fall short, and also maybe acknowledging that if their tools can't keep up with the volume of information flowing across the platform, maybe that much information shouldn't be flowing across the platform.
In response, Pinterest has said that much of their content comes onto their site from other platforms that don't have a policy against health misinformation, which is why this is an industry-wide issue that will only improve if more companies recognize the effectiveness of vaccines like measles, mumps, and rubella as settled science. YouTube says their changes are still taking effect, but a very preliminary look shows that it is limiting the spread of borderline content and harmful misinformation on their platform. And WhatsApp has made it clear when users have received forwarded information and limited forwards to reduce the spread of viral content. All of the companies mentioned say they're working on longer-term fixes to solve the problem. Facebook is planning to add warning signs on pages and groups that are known to spread false information. So this made-up group would likely have a symbol or warning sign pop up beside the page.
As these companies continue to employ these rules to fight against health misinformation, the measles outbreak continues to grow.